Diddly do. Hit it.
And welcome back. This is Area Nerdy 1 with Jarrett.
And Jimmy. Why do you go first?
Why do I go first? Because I'm more important.
Oh, alphabetical. Jarrett is like Jarritt. Yeah. Very much.
Wait, hang on. Do you think R comes before M in the alphabet?
No. Wait, where are you getting M?
James.
I go by
You're stupid.
I go
stupid.
I go by Jimmy first and foremost.
By the name God gave you.
Okay, well.
By the gods.
By the 9.
So, but anyway, welcome back to Area Nerdy 1. We are still in the middle of H.P. Lovecraft month. Only one more episode after this one.
Oh, it's a slog. I tell you what.
It is a slog and a half, I gotta tell you. There's not a lot of cheery stuff going on.
No, that's not why you read /watch /enjoy Lovecraft.
I don't go for the warm feels afterwards.
So, what do we got for today?
Well, before we start the dark abyss that is H.P. Lovecraft, what we have to start with is our wonderful sponsor is Big Nerd Coffee Company with the best brew I've ever had, which is the Elder Bean Coffee.
Whoa, look at that artwork they got for that thing.
They even got the artwork, a nice little logo. They have logos for each one of their specialized brews that they craft themselves. So, if you guys want a excellent roast and some great food, I can never gush about their food enough.
All right.
Yeah, because what's the point of drinking some coffee? You don't have some nibbles.
Yeah, like a little. Do they have donuts? They have delicious little donuts.
No, they specialize in baked goods like muffins and breakfast sandwiches.
That's okay. I like muffins better, honestly.
I like a good chocolate chip muffin.
Yes,
especially with a dark roast.
I am the muffin man, honestly.
She's married to the muffin man. She's married to the muffin man. The muffin man.
I prefer to think of the VeggieTales line where they're like singing. They're like flying through space singing the Muffin Man. They're like, I bet I could eat all his muffins. I bet I could eat all his muffins in his house.
VeggieTales was a trip.
Yeah,
a real trip. But yes, big thanks to the Big Nerd Coffee Company. Join the fight against corporate coffee with Big Nerd Coffee Company, located at Bell's Coffee Incorporated in Elmira. Go to their Facebook page, give them a like, and give them a share.
Yeah, we want to see more artwork like this.
Oh yeah, what we should do is we should specialize in one specialized brew a month.
Yeah,
showcase that.
And maybe we could start doing this podcast in the morning so we can start actually drinking the coffee without being up all night.
Area Nerdy 1 in the mornings. Where we forget to film and we're just slide out of bed. Hi, everybody.
Hey, are we filming today? Oh, that was today.
I'm here, I guess.
All right, so moving on.
Before we go into the big dealio, which is the never-ending void that is H.P. Lovecraft, we have to go over some big Area Nerdy 1 news, stuff that came out.
Okay.
We are a little bit late to the trend about the reactions to the release photos from the Rings of Power promos that Amazon released, and of course their trailer.
We're not a bloody mousetrap. We can't react to everything in the moment.
Yeah, exactly.
Here we go. There's those images.
Yeah, so they released everything from the left to right.
So
is that my left or their left?
I don't know. Okay, let's just say. All right, so on our left, there's Galadriel.
Young
Galadriel in her armor. In the middle is a dwarven character who I don't know who that is yet.
I don't think she has a name yet. And then on the far right is another Elrond. Elrond?
I'm pretty sure that's Elrond, yeah. Yep, that's played by Robert Arameo. It's Elrond. Yep, and Morfydd Clark is playing Galadriel. And let's see if we can't find the actress playing the dwarf character in question. Blah, blah, blah. I'm not seeing her anywhere, so I think that must be...
Is that her? Disa?
Yeah. No, that's not her.
But she's playing a female dwarf. We've actually never seen a female dwarf.
No. In fact, that leads people to believe there are no female dwarves, and that they just leap from the ground.
But one of the things that people are up in arms against is, believe it or not, the costumes.
I believe it.
Yes.
That's actually one of the things that I kind of noticed about these two.
Yeah.
So you seem to have boots on the ground. What are people saying about it?
So essentially, if we look, one of the things that they said about Galadriel's armor is it doesn't look very elven. When we look at the Lord of the Rings series, even in The Hobbit, the elven armor is very ornate, very I would say flowing. It seems almost semi-organic. It's
Yeah.
very natural. And then of course the dwarven armor and style is very hard edges and very. They just don't look very similar.
Yeah.
Which I understand that, but this series takes place thousands of years in the past.
Yes.
So, well, actually kind of like the dwarven, the way she's dressed.
Yeah.
Because it shows that there's somewhere that there's going to be a progression in the society and their culture.
Yeah, I'm no anthropologist, but it looks kind of like Sumerian. So like, definitely drawing from earlier human civilizations in the design.
Very basic,
Yeah.
So when we see the dwarves in their armor and how ornate they are and their cultural, how they progress culturally, that's after thousands of years of progression. And of course with the elves as well. I mean, they would not stay the same either.
So I'm seeing the name Sophia Nomvedi. I'm terrible at that name. Nomvedi as Disa, Princess of the Dwarven City of Khazad Dûm. That's the only one that I'm seeing that like doesn't have a link to the name, so I'm guessing that's her.
Maybe she's kind of like one of those lesser known actresses.
Yeah, but so I don't, okay. You want my breakdown of this armor?
Sure.
So starting from left to right, Galadriel. Like you said, it doesn't look as like organic as say Elrond or like from the first movie. It looks definitely much more plate armor. Like generally, elven armor is made up of like more leaves. I want to say it's a little bit more ornate. I don't really have a huge problem with it, but overall, these costumes look a little bit too cosplay-y.
Yeah,
that might just be because of these are promotional photos and they're like super staged, but they look a little bit too much like something you get out of a costume store or at like Comic-Con or something. The thing, looking back at the armor and the costumes and stuff is of the Lord of the Rings movies is it seems like they put a lot of effort into making them look like they were worn, like they were organic and they were looks like they had been worn by people.
Yeah,
like especially Aragorn, Boromir. You can see it a lot with Gimli's armor too. It's ornate, but you can tell there's like a lot of wear and tear on it.
But like the thing is, like they've been warring and fighting against orcs and each other for a long time. In this where this takes place, the dwarves are still very much like trying to find their own, and the elves are the dominant race in Middle Earth. They haven't really done a lot of warring.
That's true.
Yeah.
Galadriel
looks like young, so obviously she's probably still very young. So I don't think like this is when elves were really starting to like come in their own as far as a war like a warring faction.
Yeah.
So that's where I think that comes into. We're also kind of going off of what the cultures and the societies were like in the time of Lord of the Rings, which is again thousands of years in the future from when this show is taking place.
Yeah.
So these characters are not going to be doing that. The elf character on the far right, he looked, people were like, oh yeah, it looked like you said, it looks very simplistic and stuff. But that's probably what elves were like because they just come from their gods. They were the most advanced and civilized culture in Middle Earth at the time. They didn't really have any reason to do the ornate stuff yet.
Yeah.
They're still building their society.
Plus, one thing to note about Elrond is that he is Elrond half elven. Because he, I forget which parent it was, but only one of his parents was an elf. The other was immortal.
Like Spock.
Exactly. Yeah. So
like Spock.
So I'm just shot in the dark here, but I'm thinking that this is an indication that his character might be a little bit more, rebellious at this point. Maybe he doesn't want to be wearing like the ornate elven, flowing robes and stuff. Maybe he wants to be more of he's like, I want to go out and
have an adventure
and hunt. Yeah. And so I think that might be an indication as to why his character is dressed like that.
Well, I also think that we have to really wait and see what the orcs look like because that's where the Lord of the Rings shown. Like,
yes.
As far as like, you don't get much better than Urakai and the goblins of
Khazad
Dûm
or Moria,
as they call it. Yeah. My fear is that we're gonna watch. This is again, if no one knows, this is the most expensive show ever.
Yeah,
like ever. It's the most expensive that Amazon is putting on. And I'm just afraid that we're gonna watch it and we're gonna be like, where'd the budget go?
Right.
Why?
Yeah. And so my take after seeing these images and seeing the trailer,
Yeah.
the thing that really draws me back to Lord of the Rings every time is not only the action, the adventure, the amazing everything. It's that world makes me want to live in it.
Yeah.
Like I want to, I want to be in like the cozy Hobbit Shire, and I want to be like in that world, in those landscapes, adventuring with those people.
Right.
This one definitely seems a little bit more glossy, a little bit less genuine to me.
Yeah, and I didn't check. But is Peter Jackson on this as far as producing or anything?
I don't believe so.
That's a big mistake.
Let's take a look here. Is Peter
We're just looking this up online.
Jackson
Involved with the Rings of Power. It's right there.
in...
It's right there. Yeah, there.
There we go. Okay, Lord of the Rings. Is Peter Jackson involved with Ring of Power? And unique to Lord of the Rings, their eye-popping, it should be said, Peter Jackson has no involvement with Amazon's show.
Yeah.
But the towering influence of his movies makes comparisons inevitable. Well, hadoy.
Duh.
It's the world.
Why wouldn't they involve him on that? And secondly, do you think they're going to actually be filming in New Zealand at all?
Doubtful.
Because the last fantasy show I watched on Amazon was The Wheel of Time.
Yeah.
And that shit sucked.
I don't know. They'll probably be filming at least a little bit in New Zealand because they want to have like the similar backdrops and backgrounds. I haven't seen anything like that, but a lot of it looks like it's soundstage. Honestly.
I don't mind that. I don't mind a good soundstage, but like one of the things that people took away from the original Lord of the Rings was the sweeping shots of New Zealand.
Yeah. Okay. It looks like it's in this. Yep. They
did a fair share of shooting in New Zealand.
Yep, and some other countries. And
so
stuff.
When is this first season going to be released?
The first season is going to be released. The first episode is coming September 2nd, 2022. So
wow.
Yeah,
we got a little bit of time.
We have some time. Yeah.
We got a few more seasons of this show before we can get into that show.
Exactly.
Yeah, but that's what we think. If you guys have any opinions on this, please share them with us either in the comments or message them to us. We'd like to hear it.
Exactly. Okay. What now? Okay.
All right. So, we're gonna play a little game in a bit, which is going to be Lovecraft Me, Lovecraft Me not. But we're also going to talk about a couple of movies and games that are H.P. Lovecraft inspired, starting with Prometheus. Boop. I'm going to tell you this, James.
Yeah.
I thought about this.
Yeah.
This is just at the Mountains of Madness in space.
It is really. And you know what?
Yeah.
I thought of this today too. You know who's just a copy paste of Herbert West Reanimator?
Who? Oh yeah, the worst alien.
Like think about it. Herbert West and David. They both are like performing these strange experiments, and like everything they do is just like horrible. And like ostensibly they're scientists, but like when they're like, "Hey, why are you doing this?" Their answer is because that's why.
Also, I think I would like the Prometheus movies a lot better if they weren't alien movies.
Yeah.
You know? The concepts are really, really good, but then when you try to like staple them onto like Alien, it doesn't work well.
Yeah. So Prometheus was like almost not an alien movie, and then with what was it, Alien Covenant? Alien Covenant.
Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna go back to the David thing because that's where David like really shone as like the mad scientist and the villain of this. Like he appears to be the guy who creates more or less the alien,
which is so dumb. Don't give things a backstory that doesn't need it.
That's how you keep it Lovecraftian. Yeah. That's how you keep it.
But in like when they made Prometheus, they said that this was the Alien prequel.
Yeah.
Too. So if they just said no, this is just its own thing. It has nothing to do with it. Ridley Scott would have a soft spot in my heart, but instead he just fucked it up.
I just realized even bigger parallel. So we've established that David is basically just Herbert West Reanimator. Like he's just experimenting, doing horrible things, and his reasoning for it is like, just because I wanted to see what would happen.
Yeah.
Turns out, the description of Herbert West Reanimator in Lovecraft's story is David. He's a tall, blonde, like sort of Nordic-looking guy. So he is the reanimator basically.
Yeah, and they're both like super awkward. And they
Yeah.
don't really have any like reason for doing anything.
Yeah, but they're just like they're just driven by like this blind, desire for the science that they're following, but not really for any edification, just because it's there,
Just
basically.
because. Just cause.
Yeah.
We actually don't have the a picture for this next movie, but it's called The Resurrected.
Yes, we do.
Oh, we do?
Where is it? Boop. There it is.
Oh, you did get it.
That's right, because I'm on top of shit.
Yeah, you are on top of shit for once. Good job. But this is just a I forgot about this completely but it is just a straight up what do you call it?
Rip off?
Not a rip off, but when they adaptation of The Curious Case of Dexter Ward.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's actually that's one of my favorite. Was one of my more favorite stories from H.P. Lovecraft. I think that's where like it's kind of like the mystery angle.
Yeah.
Basically, because we have like we're so like satirized with like desensitized with like horror and stuff. Like you know what's going on instantaneously. But like it's this like slow burn mystery, and it's really good. Especially the ending is amazing. But The Resurrected is also really good. Not the best, but the practical effects are spot on.
Yeah. Is that the one? Does that have the grandpa from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory in there?
Probably.
Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
These movies always have the most random people in them.
Yeah. There was I don't know if it's probably no. That's not it. I'm gonna try and find it because Grandpa Bucket. He was in this movie that was basically the Reanimator. I have to see if I can find what it was. I'm going on a deep dive search.
Yeah, this is a deep dive here.
Jack Albertson, such a good actor.
Wow.
It was in like the 70s.
Yeah,
Dead and Buried. That's it.
Dead and Buried. Yeah, I've seen that one. That one's Lovecraftian.
Yeah, so it's basically Reanimator, but
better.
It's spoiler alert. Again, it's kind of a slow burn mystery, and the reveal is at the end. Like the driver of the story isn't the Reanimator part. The driver of the story is the mystery surrounding it.
Yeah, and it's honestly really good.
Yeah,
and the twist is also amazing.
And like honestly, like the only other times I've seen that actor Jack Albertson was in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, and he's like this kindly grandpa. And in this one, he's just like a really sinister and really
psycho.
Creepy. Yeah, it's bad. Yeah, so
the ending is really good.
Highly recommend.
Highly recommend. But yeah, that's another good one. I'm a sucker for anything with necromancy. For some reason I'm just like, oh, zombies.
Cool.
Yeah, cool. Neato. But yeah, that's there's a lot of pretty good Lovecraftian adaptations, but it gets buried underneath like some bad ones. But Annihilation was just a Color Out of Space too.
Yeah. That was based on a book, which was based, it ripped off Color Out of Space.
But I mean, in a good way. I mean, there's no bad way to rip off H.P. Lovecraft. He loved it when people.
That's what he wanted them to do. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what he wanted them to do, is use his stuff and influence them to go on and do their own writing.
Yeah, like we said, his work was basically a proto Reddit, where he wanted people to expand and expound upon his works.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, good. And then there's not do you have any other H.P. Lovecraft movies?
No movies, but I would like to I'd like to make a book recommendation.
Okay.
So this is a book called Shadows Over Baker Street.
Yeah.
So this Sherlock Holmes is my number one fandom. Top 3: Sherlock Holmes, Star Wars, Superman. Go down the list.
Superman sucks.
Okay, we'll get into that later. But so Shadows Over Baker Street is a collection of short stories by various authors. The primary one being Study in Emerald by Neil Gaiman. So this is basically Sherlock Holmes stories, but they all have Lovecraftian twists or Lovecraftian elements into them. Study in Emerald is basically kind of an alternate universe, a little bit Anno Dracula, where instead of Dracula has taken over England, it's the Cthulhu, cult has taken over England.
Spawn.
The
Star Spawn.
Yeah, the Star Spawn. Yeah. So there is a big old twist at the end. I don't want to spoil it, but yeah, that's the basic of it. It's incredibly well written, and I highly recommend to anyone who's either a Sherlock Holmes aficionado or an H.P. Lovecraft aficionado,
or both.
or both. Yeah, in this case, both.
Yeah, both. But there are also like a ton of games that are inspired by H.P. Lovecraft.
Name one.
Name one.
Name one.
The Sinking City.
Okay, that's like one.
That's just one. That's just the one. So this one was like I really was looking forward to this. The Sinking City. It's basically kind of like an open world H.P. Lovecraft. One thing that people really don't understand is that H.P. Lovecraft in video games, especially with high budget games, do not work well at all.
Yeah,
like at all.
So is this game good or bad?
It is. The concept is good. Everything else is bad.
Okay.
So one of the ports of the Sinking City is that you had to traverse the city, like on the waterways with these boats, and the AI and like the way like the canal system was set up within the game, you got stuck a lot, and it was very hard to maneuver, and a lot of very repetitive tasks in order to keep the game going.
Right.
Like little fetch quests that didn't really have to do anything with the game. Which the game is just basically about like a PI going into Innsmouth.
Yeah.
Solving mysteries and kicking ass. Great concept. Doesn't lead to like 80 hours of gameplay.
Right.
The graphics are also pretty good, but there wasn't like a lot of enemy types. Like it was open world, so you had to fill it with something.
Right. Okay, yeah, there has to be some sort of content that if you're doing open world, there has to be like lots of interactions, lots of the side quests. They may be people say they're annoying. That's what you want. You want to be able to go on an adventure and then like, oh, what's this little Easter egg? Go on another adventure.
Yeah, you have to have something to do in the game.
Yeah, you have make everyone feel like they're the main character.
Yeah. This isn't the Order 1893.
Ah, God, Tony. Oh, God, I wanted that game to be so good, but it turned out to be just a cutscene.
Yeah, it's a cinematic with quick like what 10 minutes of actual gameplay. It's a movie,
if that. Yeah.
It's
not a good movie. They didn't even make it a good one.
They got like the graphics were amazing and everyone was really excited for that, and it was just like
that was the time like PS4 and Xbox One had just come out, so they were trying to release these games that were like exclusive that really showed off the graphics on it. So they had things like Order 1886 and Rise Son of Rome, which I thought was a really cool game, but it's just where is it now? It's just a throwaway game. I think there was a lot of critique for both of those, but like one thing that stood out was the graphics and the character design. Everything was amazing.
Yeah. Well, the thing about Rise of Rome is that it was a game. Whether you thought it was a bad game or anything, it was a game.
Yeah.
The Order 1869.
Nice.
It wasn't a game. It really wasn't a game. People weren't able to play it.
It was a movie where you press buttons once in a while. So it was the shittiest version of a 3D ride, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Sinking City, unfortunately, is just the latest of H.P. Lovecraft games that kind of just couldn't go anywhere. Which I didn't get any of the names for it, but there are like these very low budget indie games from like the 90s that are H.P. Lovecraft inspired, and they're really good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I have to get out a list and make a post about that. But the next one is Call of Cthulhu.
Come on, there it is.
Call of Cthulhu. Did you get both of the titles?
Yes.
Yeah, because there's two Call of Cthulhu's.
All right, what's the other one called?
The Call of Cthulhu, Shadows of the Edge, Shadows of the World, Shadows.
Oh come on! All right, let's expand this a little bit so that you can actually.
Shadows of the. I haven't played it in a little bit.
Okay, come on, you.
Wow, you can't. Never mind. It's Call of Cthulhu, Shadows of the World.
Let's take a look here.
Oh my god, I can't believe I'm screwing this up. Just Shadows.
I don't see it anywhere. All right, it's the second Call of Cthulhu game.
It's the first Call of Cthulhu game, basically. So this one was made in the early 2000s, around the same time of Fallout New Vegas.
Dark Corners of the Earth.
There we go. I was way off.
Yeah.
It has those really basic graphics, kind of like the Harry Potter game we used to play.
The
EA
yeah, like it was an EA Harry Potter
Sorcerer's
game.
Stone.
Yeah, the Sorcerer's Stone,
Yeah,
and we played it on a Windows XP.
yeah.
Wait, yeah, was that what it was?
Windows XP.
Yeah,
Those really big ones with like that was basically a box.
yeah, it was a Windows XP
Yeah,
computer operating system.
yeah, and then and also we had the Aladdin game.
Yep, the Aladdin game and fucking Math Blaster.
Oh, Math Blaster! You know you can play that online for free.
I did not know that. I've been trying to find Teen Titans Battle Blitz online. Apparently, that's a lost game.
No, that's actually kind of interesting because all the games that like Cartoon Network used to have that were really popular. Because I wanted to play the codename Kids Next Door spaceship one where they're firing stuff. They're just Flash games, but they don't have them anymore.
Yeah,
like they don't own they just kind of release them to the wilds.
Yeah, like people make copies of them all the time, but the originals I have not been able to find anywhere.
Yeah.
The same goes for Animorphs Hawk Rescue.
Oh my god, you got to get over that Animorphs thing.
I cannot. Like, it's a game where you're Tobias the Hawk and you shoot cinnamon oatmeal at aliens, and it was amazing. It was the only Animorphs game apparently that
ever existed.
I think there was like a Game Boy game, but like literally anything else besides the books of Animorphs suck shit.
There was a Trolls 2 video game.
I believe it. Yeah.
Where you throw double-decker bologna sandwiches at the trolls to kill them.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Call of Cthulhu, it's not the best game in the world. It's a lot more. It's like that kind of like that. It's not really a point and click. It's kind of like an open world kind of thing. Mm-hmm. It's very. I think it's very difficult to navigate, and it is a very steep learning curve. But it really does sell it on the whole, detective angle.
Yeah,
I think that's where it does really well. The graphics are pretty bad.
Yeah,
but it's okay. It's like that game is like 15 years old. It's fine.
Yeah. You got to deal with it. It's people still love RuneScape.
Yeah, RuneScape is really big. Or Roblox.
Yeah.
People have been playing Minecraft.
Minecraft? Are you kidding me? Yeah.
People were doing run-throughs on that. I'm like, wait, you could win that game? Like, I honestly thought there was no point to the game. You just drop in and then you do stuff.
Are they playing Minecraft or like the Minecraft adventure game?
Oh, I have no idea.
All right.
I didn't know there was a Minecraft adventure
game. There's like a Minecraft game where there's like an actual story.
I know there's an Ender Dragon.
Yeah. Okay, what else we got?
Call of Cthulhu.
we already talked about that.
The other one.
Yeah,
Dingus.
Boom, there it is.
Yeah, so this one was basically a kind of along the same one. All three of these games are about these detectives in like the 1920s, like going to in the myth base.
Right.
The graphics are really good. The story's okay. The gameplay leaves a lot to be desired. It kind of leans a little bit more into that FPS kind of stuff, but unfortunately there's just nothing to write home about.
Yeah.
It's a game.
Does it evoke a creepy atmosphere at least?
Sometimes.
Just sometimes?
Just sometimes.
Huh.
Like I got more chills out of the Until Dawn game.
Right.
That one was pretty creepy. I got a lot of chills during just playing Skyrim too.
Or fucking what's the one where you're walking down the hallway and it's the same one every single time?
Freddy.
No, it's not Freddy.
Five Nights at Freddy's.
No, not even.
It's the hallway. Horror game.
PT.
PT.
Yep. So.
Oh, wait! Isn't it? Wow.
It was in conjunction with Guillermo del Toro.
Okay. So you might know the answer to this. Have you seen this on like TikTok and the internet where it's like this people like it's this like film thing where people are get sucked into like this like never ending like rooms,
kinda,
and like it's really weird. I've never seen anything like it, and I can't get a straight answer on what it is. I want to see what it is. I want to find out more about it.
It might be either this or a fan made version of it.
Okay.
Yeah, but basically they released it as like a teaser for Silent Hill or like what was it? Let's see if we can find it. Gameplay, blah blah blah. User was able to hack the camera. PT was originally announced a GameStop horror game.
Maybe they just did it to like show that they could do it, like get some hype.
Yeah. So they released it as a demo game for a non-existent gaming studio called 77080 Studios.
Yeah.
Yeah, and basically it was like, it was supposed to be like a, demo game, but was the actual game, and yeah, it like takes you through it, and then it like, it was one of those ones where it basically is kind of like a self-aware game.
Okay.
Yeah, so I scared the shit out of me. I like Ninja and Rias tried to, they made me play it when I went over to Ninja's house one time, and they were laughing their heads off because I was like, just like inching the joystick like 1 micron at a time, trying to get around those corners.
So you're not gonna play that game with the Oculus anytime soon?
Never, no, never, not in a million years.
And then the last game is that I think is really Lovecraftian is Skyrim with Hermaeus Mora.
Yeah, the Dragonborn DLC.
Well, yeah, but he was also in the base game.
Yeah,
for that one quest.
Wait, which quest was that?
That was the one where you had to go around collecting all the race's blood, and then.
Oh right.
And then that dude injects himself with the blood, and then he gets inside the box, and then he gets turned to dust.
Right, and you get a book that like gives you a magic boost, but like
it makes you swing swords better, do magic a little bit better, or just become just annoying at parties.
Even though I already used like the command lines to give myself 100% on everything, so fuck it.
What if that was your power? Were you never? No one could remember if you had arrived at a party or not. Like you just like show up at a party and like you just stand in the corner and just like jam out for a little bit, drink one beer, and then leave.
What does that have to do with Skyrim?
Because that's like the power of like sneaking.
Oh yeah.
Especially with the embassy thing.
Yeah.
It's just like, who's that one guy in the corner? Just like dragging more.
Yeah. And like, what are you talking about? He's over there crouching. Where'd he go?
Where are you at? But Hermaeus Mora is just this has a very Lovecraftian realm.
He's basically what, Azathoth?
He's basically like Azathoth, but mixed in with like, I guess,
a little bit of Cthulhu.
Yeah, it's Yog-Sothoth.
Oh,
it's
yeah,
more like Yog-Sothoth.
Yeah.
But it's it pulls heavily from other Lovecraftian mythos and everything. But basically, he's the deity of knowledge, basically.
Yeah, knowledge and forbidden knowledge.
Yeah. Whereas Yog-Sothoth is more of like the gate and the key, and that's as much as you need to know.
He's the gatekeeper and the keymaster.
Exactly. Two for the price of fun.
He's Zool.
He's better than Zool.
Zool's the androgynous person.
Skinner.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then they remade it and.
Never mind. I don't want to know.
You don't want to know?
No, I don't even care.
Okay, so like the new. Okay, I'm gonna spoil it for you because if you've seen the original Ghostbusters, you've seen the new remake.
Okay.
That's it.
That's it. Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, isn't there kids riding around on bikes too?
Yeah. So it's just Stranger Things with. It's the remake. It's the complete shot-for-shot remake of Ghostbusters, but with low energy, and one of the characters just tells jokes. Like, not like funny jokes or anything. Like, they just didn't have the gumption to actually write something creative, so they have a character tell jokes. Like,
so just like random. So just like they're like, whoa, this is they fire a proton pack, and he's like, whoa, that's a spicy meatball.
No, like actually like jokes. Like, ask a question, set up, punchline.
Like he's reading it out of a joke book.
She is, yeah. And it's just like, why? Why any of this?
I don't know. It's
yeah. But yeah,
say what you will about the all-female cast remake. It made me feel something.
Yeah, you can at least say that it was its own thing. Just kind of like the prequels. Love it, hate it, despise it. It was its own thing. It didn't just redo what came before.
Yeah, I especially love I found out that Bill Murray, he agreed to be on set one day. And like he doesn't act. It's just Bill Murray. Like he's dressed in the pinstripe suit and like the big old hat and stuff. And that's just how Bill Murray dresses like normally.
Yeah.
So he just walked on set, walked on camera, like didn't get into character. He was just Bill Murray. Yeah. Like he was so not enthused to be there.
That's so sad because like he's Bill Murray and you couldn't even get him excited for the Ghostbusters sequel.
Yeah. remake,
Reboot.
make. So okay,
Rise from the dead and then immediately get shot and put back down in the grave.
let's talk more about Hermaeus Mora because we haven't really delved deep into that.
But Hermaeus Mora basically, I would say, takes front and center in the Dragonborn DLC. Like, he's basically the big deal, except for Merrick.
Mirak.
Which is, I always thought like that was kind of confusing. Why is Hermaeus Mora? Why does he give a shit about any of this?
So yeah, so like, does Hermaeus is Mirak a Dragonborn because of Hermaeus Mora?
No, he was the first Dragonborn,
Right.
but he wasn't like, well, yeah. What did he get the knowledge of how to speak Dragon tongue from Hermaeus Mora? And
No, you can be just a normal dude and speak dragon voice, have the Thum.
Yeah.
But what makes them a Dragonborn is that they have a dragon soul and they can absorb other dragon souls.
But like, the whole point was that Hermaeus Mora was using Mirak as his avatar, kind of,
Right.
and he wanted something to Mirak to do something, and then he was just like, nah, and then has the Dragonborn kill Mirak, and then he's like, cool, all right, and then fucks off.
It's like, so this has been a net this has been net zero for me. So
I break even on this, and that's fine.
yeah.
I mean, he did kill that one skull dude.
It took tens of thousands of years for this to break even, but it's whatever.
I mean, he lost a lot of the dragons that were in his realm, and he lost a lot of his seekers too.
Sure, yeah, but the Dragonborn basically cut a swath through all of his librarians. Yeah,
And I stole all of his books.
Yeah.
The books I didn't even need. I just took them.
Yeah.
I put them in a library that I didn't read.
Yeah, he's basically
He's just a hoarder.
who's what was the owl in Avatar: The Last Airbender? Wang Shitong.
Wong Sitong.
Yeah.
Except not as much just raw sexuality.
Have you seen Legend of Korra?
Yeah.
And they go back into the library and they're like, the last person that looked for a book never left, and you see the guy's fucking skeleton.
Yeah.
This is a kid's show.
Yeah, that was gnarly. Speaking of like Lovecraftian stuff, there's a lot we could have delved into for Legend of Korra.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on though.
Yes. So I don't think I have any more games.
Me neither. But let's see here. What do we got? Why don't we go into the part where I'm like, Lovecraft me not, where we're just gonna look at stuff that doesn't have anything to do with Lovecraft, and we're gonna decide how and if it's Lovecraftian.
It's probably it's gonna be yes.
It's all yes.
It's all gonna be
It's
yes.
all yes. I chose these things because they are Lovecraftian. Okay.
In nature. Okay.
So let's start with one that's really just kind of let's start from the top, shall we? Let's go with Hocus Pocus. I've done a lot of this about this movie this past year.
Okay, so I have a question.
Yeah.
So would the Salem witch trials?
Yeah.
Is that Lovecraftian?
So
just in general.
Do you mean like the Crucible?
Yes, with and without witches.
I wouldn't say it's Lovecraftian because it's something that really happened, and I don't really like to apply like, oh, that's Lovecraftian, that sort of like it's not a fictional narrative, like that's something that happened, like these women were persecuted. Like I don't like to apply that. Let's say like the Crucible, which is a fictionalization retelling. I'd say so, but I'd say it's more from like psychological standpoint because there is no actual supernatural element in the Crucible.
No.
It's all in these people's heads. It's all psychological.
Well, I think that's kind of the point, is that Lovecraftian stuff can be applied to non-magical or culty stuff.
Mhm.
I mean, the Salem witch trials were just pure madness. So like Hocus Pocus is just the Salem witch trials with real witches.
There's actually only one reason why Hocus Pocus is Lovecraftian, and that's because it has the Necronomicon in it.
Except the Necronomicon didn't have an eye.
I know it's even they took the Necronomicon and made it creepier, and it's a children's movie.
Okay. I just thought of something.
Okay,
The Hocus Pocus sequel, the Anderson sisters
Andersons.
have to team up with a warlock that they resurrect, and it's Matthew Barry. You stay away from me, Sanderson sisters.
Or it's just the What We Do in the Shadows crossover.
Hands off that leather-bound book, you bitch.
What's three saucy tots like you walking around old Salem at night?
He looks at him and like, what's two saucy tot? What's one saucy tot doing walking around Salem at night? You'll have to do a lot better than that to rustle these jimmies.
I once had a hat that a witch gave me, and it was really cool. Are you sure it wasn't?
This book isn't bound with witches' anuses, is it? Because I have a hat just like that. Puts that book on his head. Nope, don't feel a thing. Don't feel really jazzed about that.
Oh yes, I can't wait.
Matthew Barry would make everything better. Honestly,
Just insert Matthew Barry anywhere.
I would, if I had the money, just absolute money, I would make an absolute serious Mountains of Madness movie, but with Matthew Barry there doing Matthew Barry stuff. Like, nobody comments on that. Not going towards those high peaks of Mountains of Madness.
You could fuck straight off, friendo.
Last time I went to Mountains of Madness, I was in bed with my ex-wife, and now I'm here, freezing my nuts off.
Oh God! Yeah.
This man's inside out. Let's turn him back. Oh, that's not working. Anyway, I would say no, it's not Lovecraftian. And I'll say this one reason why.
Okay.
Because the Sanderson sisters know the devil.
Okay.
Because it's so technically when you talk about it, Lovecraftian, that there are other gods, there's elder gods, there's like, things outside of what we consider normal religion.
Yeah.
However, the Sanderson sisters technically live in a world where the Judeo-Christian gods are real.
So yeah, that's the one thing about Lovecraft is there's like no answer to anything. Everything's just like cosmically unknowable. But they actually mentioned it. Like, okay, they've met Satan.
They've been to hell.
That's where they draw their power from. It's not drawn from the unknowable cosmic horror.
Yeah. Winifred says that she's been to hell and she liked it. She's been there.
They're like, what's the point though? Like,
I mean,
never mind.
We're not gonna get. Okay, what do you think?
I think it's not Lovecraftian. Just like you say, because there's a known quantity going on there.
Yeah.
And it's just fun. There's a happy ending. Like that's one thing about Lovecraftian stories is that the ending is never happy.
But I mean, it's not happy. I mean, the book woke up and.
Okay, so that's there's a difference between having an open-ended story, and having a story that's open-ended and everyone is turned into fish people and turned inside out.
That's fair.
Or some bullshit like that.
Also, that kid had the name Thackeray for like 200 years. How did he just keep going on?
No one said, don't you mean Zachary?
Thackeray.
Huh. I like that better.
Oh, that's better. But next one.
You know what? I'm going to say this. Harry Potter. So, like, okay, hear me out. Like 90% of the entire series is like dumb YA adult young adult novels shit.
I'm not giving J.R.R. Tolkien Rowling a pass because she stumbled ass backwards into a good idea because she was a bad writer.
She was a cozy mystery writer who decided to write wizard cozy mysteries.
Also, canon in Harry Potter, the universe, that wizards used to just shit on the floor and then wave their wands and take it away. That was canon. And instead of just saying, hey, they had medieval level technology until like the 1950s, she typed that on Twitter, sent it out into the universe, and made it canon.
Thanks a lot. Doesn't she know the power her words have? Anyway, so
like a spell.
Hear me. Second thing. So apparently, one thing that was canon is that like for Harry and Malfoy to be stink-eyeing each other, they had to look across the other two house tables.
Like Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yeah, we're gonna make that TikTok. Why is he staring at me? I don't know.
What are you staring at?
So okay, so 90% of Harry Potter is not Lovecraftian. It's Harry Potter. Like they're everything. But once they actually try to start explaining magic or like anything like that, it gets very Lovecraftian. Like, look, they've got in their government, there's just a veil to the other side of death, and like no one explains it. Like that type of like they'll have throw shit like this in there and then just not explain it or address it ever again. Like, where does magic come from? Why is this thing there? Why is there
a whole room for it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Where's the rest of it? Where's the rest of you?
Like there's I just imagine that like somewhere in Hogwarts it's like, oh, there's a deep yawning chasm into the cosmic horror of Cthulhu, and like some kids will fall into it once in a while. And McGonagall will just be like, "Don't! We told you when you were like first year not to walk into the yawning chasm." And people will be like, "Why don't you like do anything about the cosmic horror?" And she's like, "Don't talk back."
Maybe that. Hang on. Maybe that's why they don't have good relations with the Muggles. Like, imagine you're a diplomat, right? Yeah. You know, you've worked your entire life, and now you're finally gotten into a point in the government where you can have some real power, and then you're brought in and you're told, hey, there are wizards, and then you get a nice little tour of their compounds and stuff to let them know the dangers and stuff because you're an ambassador to the real world, and then they tell you they have the gate to the other world, and you're just like, huh? What?
That's actually 10 times better than what they actually did in the books. So in the books, I read the books back in the day. I only read them once. So at the beginning of I think the sixth book, no, the fifth book.
Mm-hmm.
No, the sixth book. So the sixth book, they seventh book. The beginning of the seventh book.
Oh my God.
Sorry. So the beginning of the seventh book.
Yeah.
There's a scene where it shows the Prime Minister of England. He becomes Prime Minister the first day. He's in his office by himself. Poof, the Minister of Magic just appears in his office, and it's like, hey, there are wizards. If you need to know about it, we'll let you know. And then poof, he's gone. And then he's like, yeah, exactly. He's like, what the fuck?
That would be a Matthew Berry scene.
And then it's like skip ahead 4 years later, and then poof, the Minister of Magic shows up, and he's like, hey, our Hitler is back, and we're at war, and I've been ousted as Prime Minister. Yeah. Poof, here's the new Minister of Magic. And then the Prime Minister is like, what? Don't you guys have magic? Like, what are you doing? And they're basically just like, the other guys have magic too. Poof, they're gone.
I wondered the first time the Prime Minister saw that, he was just like, maybe he had a fever. He was like, there's no interaction for 4 years, and then they just show up again.
Exactly. So that's the only thing that they're just like, poof, there's magic, but don't worry about it.
That's Lovecraftian. The way they handle their relations and their entire government is Lovecraftian, because they do it with such wonderful chaos that it's obvious why they suck so bad at their jobs.
So one thing that kind of sparked my imagination for the Harry Potter fandom recently was I saw on TikTok this guy makes custom made, really artistic lawns for people based around their Harry Potter universe character, which I'm a sucker for characterization and uniqueness.
Right.
So I was like, oh God, what would my character be? What kind of wand would he have? And I would want to be a paranormal investigator for the wizard world. So Newt Scamander is he deals with animals and stuff, right? And Aurors, they deal with the dark wizards. I would be the one who deals with okay, they found a veil of death in the middle of England somewhere.
The SCP Foundation for Wizards.
Exactly. Basically, the line would be he's we just scratched the surface of magic. We don't know anything about the universe beyond that. And what are Dementors? Where do they come from? So
why are they such assholes?
Why are they such assholes? So basically, when Hellboy shit happens, I would be the one to go.
And also, they have an entire giant room dedicated to telling the little orbs that tell the future. And then a couple of kids and Death Eaters break in, destroy
everything.
Everything. They destroy everything. Maybe thousands of years of predicted futures in people's lives just gone.
Yeah.
And they're just like, well, okay.
Yeah.
Let's have another civil war.
Yeah. So I'd say it's 0.5% Lovecraftian, but that's really important 0.5%.
If Rowling knew how to world build properly and actually do stuff that would be interesting, then we would have a better answer. We just don't have enough. It's just kind of like that. It's like the J.J. Abrams mystery box.
Yeah.
Don't set something up, don't explain it, and that's content, and that's a story.
Like the biggest indication of that was like the line where Mad Eye Moody, I think it was just in the movie, but he's like, when Cedric Diggory was your age, he could turn to a whistle into a watch and have it sing the time for you. And I'm like, is that difficult?
Useful?
Like, is that difficult? Like, is that a gauge of how difficult? I don't know what that means.
I got to be honest with you. I have gone my life I've done a lot of things, but I think I've seen all of 2 whistles that I could actually put my hands on and use.
Yeah.
And also I've only had like a few pocket watches, and I've never wanted either one of those things to sing like a human being,
or one to become the other,
or one to become. I wasn't like man, I have this whistle only if I had a pocket watch. It's like a math problem in your textbook. Jared has 25 whistles. How many pocket watches does that translate to?
Well, that's probably what like wizard textbooks are.
Yeah.
So like we'd open it up and be like, how many watches can you make from 14 whistles? Like, I don't
I don't fucking know.
What is this?
If you turn a watch into a pocket watch, as in turn a watch into another kind of watch, what kind of songs would it sing? Latin American pop. I don't know.
Why would I have a whistle? And why would I not just go to the store and buy a watch?
Here's magic. I have a whistle. I'm gonna throw this in the trash and take my $5 and get a freaking pocket watch.
It's like a watch that sings the time to you. It's called a phone.
Yeah. God.
Okay.
No, okay, yeah. J.K. Rowling was not the best writer, but I don't think it's Lovecraftian.
Okay, then definitely not Lovecraftian. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to another one. Jumanji, Lovecraftian or not?
Whimsical.
Whimsically Lovecraftian?
No, actually, no. No. The original Jumanji was a goddamn horror story.
So yeah, so it's like it's like, okay, it's saying like, okay, there's gonna be African jungle wildlife in your transported to you, but it's not really African jungle wildlife.
I mean, it's mosquitoes the size of a dog.
Yeah, it's nightmare Lovecraftian versions.
The plants are definitely
like, you're gonna have a nightmare fucking rainforest cafe in your living room, okay? Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely Lovecraftian.
And like, what is the game? Why is it exist? Why is it doing this? No one knows. It just
honestly, I think it was like Jumanji, because it's back in like the 1800s that those kids were burying that thing, right?
I don't. Was it like
that's like the first board game? Jumanji canonically in this timeline, I think is the first board game ever.
I mean, like, chess has been around for like.
Chess is boring.
And like Go's been around for.
Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, true.
But Jumanji, I would say, like with dice and everything, like what we consider a traditional board game.
Yeah.
I would say Jumanji's, especially the actual world that Jumanji inhabits when Robin Williams' character gets transported there, definitely Lovecraftian.
Yeah. So there was an animated series that came out after it, and apparently, like, where they go into the game and are in the world.
Yeah.
And like they like get to a point where they're like behind the scenes of the game, and it's run by basically a death, like a Grim Reaper figure.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like when Robin Williams is talking about his time in the game, and the actual world, you get the sense that all the horrors we saw in the movie, that was just the scratched surface of what we could have seen.
What did he say? I don't remember that.
He was talking about about the being in the jungles of Jumanji, and he's just like talking about like, the things hunting in the night and what happens when they eat, and then you just sit there and you pray that you're not for dessert.
Let's see here. Robin Williams, Jumanji, blah blah blah.
Jumanji.
Ellen Parrish. Ellen Parrish
talks about
Jumanji. There we go. Doesn't say I'm not finding any. I'm gonna have to look this up later. But apparently, that sounds rough.
Oh my god, yeah! And then like the big plant with like the thing that comes out. And
Van Pelt's basically just a being created by a board game to hunt people.
So I have a headcanon for that.
Yeah,
like my headcanon is like Robin Williams is in Jumanji and like he's surviving and stuff, and then he sees like a group of hunters and people there, and then the hunter character, what's his name?
Van Pelt.
Van Pelt is there, and they help him out for a little bit, and then Van Pelt gets bored, of like hunting these animals because like he's got a gun, and even though there's the horrors of Jumanji, he has fires and stuff. It's fine. So he starts hunting all of his party until like secretly, like he's hunting, and then he realizes, oh, I need somebody that actually knows how to survive out here because 9 times out of 10, the people that I send out that I'm gonna hunt are just taken by the jungle, and then he starts hunting Alan Parrish. So like my hand cannon, he finally gets some kind of safety, and then he becomes the hunted by this dude.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
that's dark.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I would say Lovecraftian. I would also think
10 out of 10 Lovecraftian.
It's got to have some kind of like horrible ruins and like of cities and temples there too.
Oh yeah. There's probably a Cthulhu cult like living in the jungle of Jumanji. For show.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see here. What's a good one? Okay, Lord of the Rings. But only a few parts of Lord of the Rings. So one specifically is definitely Lovecraftian, and that's the Watcher in the Water.
Okay.
So like when we see the Watcher in the Water in the movie, it's basically a giant squid. It's like a kraken type thing, right?
Right.
But when they describe it in the books, it's basically you don't really see it. It's basically just a black mass of tentacles with like hands on
actual
the end.
hands on the end. Yeah. Ooh.
So here's how Gandalf describes it. He describes it as something more ancient than even him or Sauron. Like it was around before Sauron. Sauron doesn't even know that it exists, and he's like the oldest being in Middle Earth.
Right. So like there's other Watchers too. So like in Mordor there are other Watchers, but they're made out of stone. So what I was thinking is like they were there before the creation, and like the Iluvatar like created everything. Like they were there, and they just kind of got stuck in the middle of like the created world.
Yeah. So yeah, like it's very Lovecraft. Like I don't think that J.R.R. Tolkien was aware or corresponding or anything with Lovecraft, but it's too close for comfort for it to not sound Lovecraftian.
I do have an opinion on this.
Yeah.
I do, but I have a question first.
Yeah.
Is the squid in 2000 Leagues Under the Sea, is that Lovecraftian?
No, because it's very definitely supposed to be a giant squid. It's a biologically inaccurate giant squid, but it's definitely supposed to be a giant squid.
So the Watcher in the Water, I think is terrifying. I just don't think it's Lovecraftian.
Okay.
Because as far as I'm concerned, it's just something. It's just kind of like an animal. It doesn't have any real power. What is Lovecraftian, I think, in Lord of the Rings is Melkor. Melkor, I believe, is Lovecraftian in the fact that he's just this fallen monster. Turned.
I know I've got a fucking thing of
Morgoth.
Morgoth, yeah.
Up above Evil Dead.
There we go. There, That's Melkor / Morgoth.
Yes, I think he's Lovecraftian because I don't honestly in the reading of it and how he's kind of described, he's not the Satan figure. He is more akin to Azathoth, or not Azathoth, or Nyarlathotep, or more like Baal. Not like a demon entity. It's just the pinnacle of true darkness and chaos, and that's why I think is Lovecraftian. The Watcher in the Water is something even more.
Yeah, Watching the Water is, I think, it's supposed to be older than Morgoth too, right?
Yeah, it might be, but I don't think it's more powerful than Morgoth.
No, it's definitely not more powerful than Morgoth, but I think whatever spawned the Watcher in the Water might be more powerful than Morgoth. Because Shelob, like Ungoliant, the giant spider that spawned Shelob, which is also very Lovecraftian. Go back and read it.
Yeah.
That overpowered Morgoth. He had to have the Balrogs come in and save him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, faux show. Well, okay. You say not Lovecraftian. I say it is. Let's agree that I'm right and move on. Okay. So next, we're coming up on the end here. Let's see if I got one more thing. Let's talk about the Terror, because that is definitely not necessarily Lovecraft. It's not Lovecraft, but I'd say it's very Lovecraftian.
Right.
In that huge spoiler coming up, the creature Toonbach is unexplained. You have no fucking idea why it's there, what it is, which
So our sister just tried to call me twice, and now is trying to harass my brother. I don't know.
We're gonna wrap this up real quick. So Toonbach is a spirit bear that you have no idea what it is.
Mhm.
I
It's
honestly,
got a very human-like face.
it's disturbing, and honestly, like I read the synopsis of the book, The Terror, and it explained in the book they explained what Toonbach is, and honestly, that ruined it a little bit for me.
Wow.
I kind of wish I hadn't because it was like, especially with the show, the effect was much stronger when you just don't know what Toonbach is, why it is, what's happening. Okay, so
But also, I think the tier is Lovecraftian because of the psychological effects that it has on the characters as well.
it could be Lovecraftian just with the Arctic exploration story.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you haven't seen the Terror, it's amazing. Please give it a watch. It's
it's what television could and should be in this modern age.
Absolutely, and it's the acting is phenomenal. The set pieces are phenomenal. Edmure Tully is in it alongside Mance Rayder.
Oh yeah. And what's his Jared Harris, who has been in myriad things. He was not in Game of Thrones, but he should have been.
He should have been. Oh, Game of Thrones really needed another season.
Yeah.
But yeah, we are running up on time, unfortunately. But we were requested to give a shout out today.
What was that?
Our sister, our little niece, is turning 1.
All right. Well, we're not going to drop names. We're just going to let you know that we have a niece. She's turning 1.
She's turning 1. Happy birthday!
Happy birthday, little niecey new.
Yeah, she doesn't speak English yet.
I know. Well, one day she'll be older and be able to dig back into YouTube and watch all of the podcasts, and she'll be like, shout out right
She's
there.
got to wait till she's 18 to watch it because we swear quite a bit.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I also did the sentence in my Matthew Berry voice. I said, "Is this book made out of witches' anuses?"
And that's twice you've said it.
That's twice I've said it, and so I don't think we're even going to get on Apple Podcasts for that.
All right.
Either.
Well, thank you guys so much for watching. We will be back next week with our last week of Lovecraft.
Lovecraft. Yes, that we know this has been a bit of a struggle. HP Lovecraft is not the easiest thing to digest.
It leaves a bad taste in the mouth.
Yes, but thank you guys so much. If you guys have any suggestions or topics you'd like us to go over, or just want something you guys want us to talk about, message us on Instagram or Facebook, and we will answer it. Just leave your question, your name you would like to be referred to as, and your preferred pronouns, and we would at least answer them.
Yes. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. We will catch you on the next one. This has been Jimmy.
This has been Jarrett.
And I'm going to delete all this.